So personal development books, self-help books, whatever you want to call it.
Do it!
Today I'm going to share with you the 5 best personal development books that I've read over the past 15 years. I've read over 350 books. Here are the 5 best that helped me specifically in the area of developing a positive mindset. Now stick around. After I share with you the 5 books, I'm going to share with you some tips on how to make the most out of it. Because a mistake a lot of people make is they will read the books, but then they don't get any results. And just accumulating the knowledge without doing anything
Just do it!
is not going to make the changes you want to experience in your life. Because otherwise what you find will happen is you'll read the books and you'll stick them on the shelf. That's called self-development, not self-development. Now I'm going to share with you how you can develop yourself instead of developing your shelf. Okay, first I need to make some coffee, so why don't we chat while I make the coffee? The first book is Mindset by Carol Dweck. They are in no particular order, but if you're new to this genre, I recommend starting here because she has proven it through rigorous research over many decades, and I've found it through my own experience that you can grow and you can develop new skills, but you only do it if you believe you can change and you believe you can grow. And there will be many times, and I'm sure you can appreciate this, you've got that habitual way of thinking will tell you, you can't do it, what's the point, just give up, never gonna happen. But when you furnish your mind with the research, you're arming yourself with the information you need to argue with that thought, with those thoughts in your head telling you you can't. Somewhere in your mind you can say, but the research has shown it's happened over and over again, you can get better, just keep trying. So important to be consistent and be persistent. Now just to warn you, I mean, the only thing that bothered me a little bit about this book was after chapter 3 it gets a little bit repetitive, but repetition is good because it helps reinforce. For some people who like learning by repetition, that's useful. There are others who will think, okay, I get it. Hang in there till about chapter 4, and if you get it by then, don't worry, you can go on to the next one. So that's the first book recommendation. Let's get on with the coffee. So the second book on the list, Master Key System by Charles Harnell. I love this book. This book was instrumental in helping me overcome my negative mind. Imagine you wanted to train for a 10K run and you wanted to achieve a goal of running it in under 1 hour, and you came across this personal trainer and they said, right, do this. This is exactly what you need to do every single day for the next 3 months in order to achieve your goal of running 10K in less than 1 hour. Which is how this book helped me. It's literally a workout. That's how I recommend approaching developing a positive mindset. You're literally taking your mind for a workout. It helped me develop strength to start deciding, instead of going down that rabbit hole of negative thoughts, let me pick this one. So that's the second book recommendation. This is the next book on the list. It's called PsychoCybernetics by Dr. Maxwell Waltz. So this book, what I loved about this book, is written by a plastic surgeon and a physician. The reason he entered the field of plastic surgery is because he wanted to make a difference in people's lives, to make them feel better about themselves, where maybe people had an accident, or they had these growths which was affecting their confidence and their self-image. For example, one lady he operated on had this massive growth on her nose, and it affected how she would show up in life. Like, she would shy away, she couldn't look in people's eyes, and she would keep herself hidden because it was affecting her confidence, this growth. So when he removed the growth, she carried on hiding, she carried on like she wouldn't look in people's eyes and so on. The behavior persisted, and he found this happened over and over again. He decided wow, what's going on? Why is this happening? So he looked into the field of psychology. He didn't find the answers in psychology. He found the answers in the field called cybernetics, which is the field where information, data is communicated electronically. There's an exactness about it. So he looks at that field, and then after studying that, he thought, how can I apply that to the central nervous system, our own central nervous system? And that's what he did. So hence he found out this field called PsychoCybernetics. He's come up with ways and systems and so on to help you start changing the way you think and the way you communicate to yourself, which has an impact on your nervous system and therefore how you feel. So I highly recommend this book too. While the kettle is boiling, let me fill you on a bit of trivia. The question people often ask gay couples is, and if they're not asking, they're certainly thinking, who's the man and who's the woman in the relationship? And we have a running joke in the gay community, the one who kills the spiders is the man. Well, here's another way of distinguishing who's the man and who's the woman in the relationship. Which one leaves dishes in the sink instead of loading them in the dishwasher? She doesn't load the dishwasher. So instead of nagging her, can you load the dishwasher? I wrote this sign. Instead of making them feel bad or nagging them, tell them how much it helps you, because they always want to help, don't they? Is it working? So far, so good. So the next book on the list is, and some might say this doesn't really belong in the positive mindset collection, it belongs maybe more in the soul and spirit collection, but A New Earth by Eckhart Tolle, I believe, underpins all collections. Why? Because when we're thinking negatively, it's typically habitual thoughts from the past or anxiety about the future. But what he teaches in this book is how to be present and be where you are, which is free of the stress, free of the anxiety, free of guilt, all these thought patterns that you can put under the category of negative thinking. When you're free of that, then your natural state of love, joy, and peace flows through you. Now, if that's not positive thinking, I don't know what is. If you're wondering which coffee this is, it's called a pour-over coffee. Previously, I used to drink like French press or Americano. They are too strong. The fifth one is called Learned Optimism by Martin Seligman. This is a book I wish I'd read 15 years ago. Well, first of all, the field of psychology, what it used to do is just study ill people, people unwell. So what he decided to do was, okay, why are we always studying ill people? How about we go and study the people who are flourishing, who are thriving, who are happy, who are optimistic? Why don't we go and study them and then find out what it is they do and then teach it to the people who are not so well? So we started doing that, and it was a game changer in psychology. And he founded this new movement called the positive psychology movement, and he teaches you the vocabulary of the optimistic people. It's not easy, it does take time. I recommend this book a lot too. So those are my 5 recommendations. Now I want to share with you how to get the most out of books, because the biggest mistake people make, I find, as I mentioned earlier, is binge reading books. I've fallen for that myself. You read a book, you feel you're successful and you feel you've achieved because you read a book. That's not how it works. That's just knowledge. Knowledge is useless without putting it into practice. Let me give you some tips. First is you have to take responsibility, because you're being provided the information and you actually have to do something with it. Some people say, oh, that book doesn't work. Question yourself, how much action have I taken? So you need to be honest with yourself. When you are truly honest with yourself and you know where your weaknesses are, then you can do something about it. Second, after reading each chapter of a book, ask yourself, what 3 things did I learn from this? and then write down, what one action can I take? Carve out 10 minutes time for you to actually take action, do something. And then after you read the book, give yourself 1 week before you go on to binging the next book, which is what I used to do. I would just go on to the next one because I had this sense of accomplishment without actually doing something about it. So I started spending 1 week, instead of reading another book, I'm going to devote that time to taking action on the book I just read. If you're not getting something out of a book, it doesn't matter. There may be another author who speaks to you on the same subject but in a different way. So don't beat yourself up if you don't get something out of a book. That happens to me a lot too. Going back to what I said earlier, negative thinking is a habitual way of thinking, and in order to create a new habit of positive thinking, the way you develop a new habit is you do a little bit every day. What was your biggest takeaway? Which book will you get started on? What have I missed? Which book transformed your life in the area of positive thinking? I want to know. Tell me in the comments below. If you found it useful, please share. Thanks again for watching Coffee and Wisdom. I'm Anise Kisselbash, and I will see you in another episode. I've got a sneeze coming. Oh my God. Oh, it's gone. Oh, don't you hate it when the sneeze creeps up on you and then it disappears without a trace?